The first lie that I find that many women believe and are actually told by good people helpers, good meaning, well-meaning, I'm not saying they're excellent people helpers, but they're well-meaning people helpers. And that is this, honey, if you're in a bad marriage or if you're in a bad relationship, you know, it must be something you're doing that's causing him to act that way. There must be something wrong with you that he would treat you this way, whether it's infidelity or anger. I remember a woman going to her pastor and she told her pastor how angry her husband was. And her pastor said, well, what are you doing to make him so angry? You know? And so it's this kind of mindset that you're responsible for how they behave. So something that you're doing has to change in order to change the other person. So the lie is, if only I figure that out and try harder, then everything will be better. If I stop provoking him, or if I stop doing certain things, then he will be the loving husband that he's capable of, or he will stop abusing me, or he will start being responsible as a man and take the leadership that he's supposed to take. Now, there's a teeny bit of truth here that I want to talk about, because we do have some impact on people and we do have some influence on people. And so how I treat people or how people treat me affects me and affects them, right? It doesn't make them do something. I just talked to a woman yesterday who in a coaching consult, and she was, you know, concerned because her husband had committed adultery 4 different times. And so the therapy she was getting was, well, how do we put this marriage back together? And what's your part of why he committed adultery? And I'm like, wait a minute, this is crazy thinking. He committed adultery because of what was in his heart. Now, maybe in his heart, he was unhappy in the marriage, for sure. All right. And there might be some things in the marriage that need to be tended to. But she was just as unhappy as he was, and she didn't commit adultery 4 times. So adultery, abuse, addictions are not marriage problems. They cause marriage problems for sure. But when we start trying to fix the marriage without addressing the person who caused that problem, the problem's going to repeat itself, right? Because it's not a marriage problem. It's a character issue. If I choose to commit adultery, my spouse didn't make me do that. If I was unhappy in my marriage, I had 25 other choices I could have made, right? I'm not a victim, this victim mindset. I'm not a victim of my spouse's, you know, didn't love me like I wanted her to, so I had to have an affair. That's not true. Same as with anger. If someone is abusive to you in your marriage, or you're abusive to them, they don't make you act that way. There's lots of people who feel pretty angry at their kids or pretty angry at their spouse at times, and they don't become verbally abusive or physically abusive. If they choose that route, that's because what's in their heart to do it. Just like, so there's this subtle truth that, you know, when people do some things, we feel certain feelings. We feel hurt, we feel upset, we feel angry. And how we handle our feelings, whatever they are, is totally our responsibility. That's the owner mindset. And so when you get fed this lie in a counseling session or from your pastor, or even in your own head, it's my fault he acted that way. It's my fault he watches porn because I'm not willing to do weird stuff in bed, or it's my fault that he cheated on me because I, you know, have been busy with the kids and haven't tended to him. Now, there might be some truth that you have repair work to do in your marriage at some point about that. But if he cheats or he watches porn or he does whatever he does, beats you up, those are his character issues, just as if you did those things, those are your character issues, right? And so don't think that if I only do the right thing, he won't act that way. So this lie, if only I try harder, feeds 3 more lies. The lies it feeds is, so if only I try harder, he will change. It's my fault he acts that way. If only I just trust God enough, then God will work in his heart to change him. And God is always working on our hearts. He's working on your heart right now. Do you feel it? Sometimes you do. You feel that conviction. Sometimes you don't. But God is always trying to get through to us. God is always trying to show us the truth. God is always trying to show us his love. Sometimes we're receptive to it, and sometimes the channels are not clear. God calls that blindness, deafness. We can't see. And so it's not that God isn't trying to talk to your husband. It's that your husband hasn't cleared the channel to listen. Or if he hears, he's not willing to submit. And God never pushes his way on someone against their will, right? And so if you're not God either, and so if you're not that powerful, Jesus loved Judas. It says in John, during that Last Supper, that he showed him the full extent of his love, as he did all the disciples. Couldn't love Judas any more than he loved him in that moment. And what did Judas do? So don't put that burden on yourself that there's something wrong with you that they're acting that way. Now, there might be something wrong with you that you need to work on, but you're not causing them to act that way. Just like your kids' misbehavior doesn't cause you to scream and yell at them. If you scream and yell at your kids' misbehavior, there's something going on with you, right? That you have to own. See, we love to blame everybody else. It's their fault I act that way, therefore I don't have to take any responsibility. You have to change. You have to be a perfect kid, so I won't yell at you. Not possible. Not possible, right? So you're responsible for you. He's responsible for him. And when you get that really clear, you live in a healthier place.